This is part 2 of the continuation of my thank you to everybody who helped out and the story of my computer. Enjoy. So I was like, okay, you know what? I need a new motherboard, and I need my power supply was originally I thought it was a risk, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a new power supply. And for some reason, I thought I was gonna get more RAM. I don't need more RAM. I don't even use my RAM, my 8 gigs of RAM right now. I use max 4, maybe 5 if I'm like running it hardcore. It's my CPU that gets trashed, and my graphics card gets really get runned. Anyways, so I asked for some help. I got some help from all the people I mentioned earlier, and I got a good amount of money to buy a new motherboard and a power supply. But when I went to the store, I dealt with this guy he was really nice, but he was kind of like insecure and just unconfident, and he looked, I don't want to be like offensive, he looked like a geek. So I was like, okay, this guy's a geek. He's gonna know computer stuff. So I trusted him, even though he was extremely nervous and like I thought he was just socially awkward. To be honest with you, that's all I thought it was. But I thought he knew his stuff, so I trusted him. And we got the new motherboard, and I got a new power supply, and I got more RAM. But obviously, I didn't get the most expensive stuff. I only had like $200 to work with, and I got 500-watt power supply. I got a new motherboard that could handle 4 RAM sticks. And I got 2 more RAM because I don't know why. I didn't know why. I thought that was a great idea. But then I was still having the problem for a week, and there's a 7-day return policy on all the products from this store. So what I did was I kept, for like a week, I kept trying new things, trying all the different RAM sticks. It was still rebooting itself and turning off, and I didn't understand why, and it was pissing me off, and I lost my mind. I went nuts. I returned everything but the power supply, which you'll find unique in the end. So I returned everything but the power supply because I was like, okay, the power supply is 500 watts. My other one was, I thought it was like lower, but it's actually 420. 420 or 480. It can't be 480, it'd be 420. But anyways, so, and then from there, I plugged all my old parts back in. My mother finally convinced me to go to this computer store. Basically, it's like, they fix your parts, or they also sell new parts. But this computer store that she's dealt with her ex-man's company. They had a computer that has issues. They always take it to the same place, and they've always fixed it, and they've always solved their problem, and with positivity. Everything went happily. So from there, we took it down there, and we got the weekend guy, because I did it on Saturday. Pretty sure I did it on a Saturday, and this is a week after I returned the parts. And no, it wasn't. It was the following, because I bought the parts on a Friday, returned them on the following Friday. On the Saturday, we took it in. So it was a Saturday. We took it in on a Saturday. The guy, he hooked everything up. Everything worked. Everything worked fine at their location. But what he said is that the graphics card needed to be reseated, which basically means reconnected. It needs to have been taken out and put back in to realign the connection. And I was like, okay, problem solved. I'll go back home and use my computer again. I took it back home. Didn't work. Wouldn't turn on. If I did turn on, I could get it to the password login phase, and then it would go black screen, and then I couldn't get it to go back on again. So I was still having the same problem. And by this time, my frustration with the whole computer situation was at a medium. Maybe lower than a medium, but like it hadn't got to its peak yet. So I took it home and I messed around with it for a couple of days, couldn't get it working. So then I think it was because we went both times we took it back to the same guy, and he only works weekends. So it was like a week later, because my mom was driving, and that was the only other. Domino, stop. It was the only other day that she has time to do it. So a week later, we took the computer in again to the store and brought in like all the parts this time. Not all the parts, but like a few of the main things: the keyboard, the mouse. I brought in the monitor and stuff like that. We plugged it all in. The guy plugged it all into the store, the computer technician, and it worked. Everything worked fine. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I took it home, plugged it all in. Nothing worked again, and I was like, okay, I'll just reseat everything. So I took everything apart and reseated it, and it wouldn't work, and I was losing my mind. I'm even getting frustrated talking about it. So then, oh, by the way, I also lost $15 on the returns for the returning the motherboard and the RAM. So that's plus the $50 power supply. So that's $65. But anyways, so I took it home again for the second time, and tried starting it up again, and it wouldn't work. I couldn't get it working. I didn't understand why. I had Marcus help me out again for another couple hours one night trying to figure out what the heck the problem was. Couldn't figure it out. So I think it was the following week. So it was 2 weeks later after the initial bring into the store. And so it was the third weekend in a row we brought it in. Oh, it wasn't a Friday that time. Oh, it was a Friday. So it was not the Saturday, but the Friday just before a week later. We brought it in, and we were like, we dealt with a different guy, one of the like everything by the book kind of guys. So he took the computer. By the way, the other guy that I dealt with on the Saturdays, he was super nice. He didn't charge me shit. And he sat there for at least a half an hour both times. Super nice guy. The other guy that I brought it into, who works during the week, who's obviously full-time and possibly part owner of the company or something, he was like, by the book, kind of like, I'm going to take your computer, and then I'm going to write you a bill, and then I'll look at it kind of thing. So we left it with him. But he figured out that the Ethernet port on my motherboard had been fried, and that was the only thing that was damaged, and he got everything running. He ran it through a stress test. The first test he ran it through was making sure what parts were damaged, and that took like 36 hours or something stupid, maybe even longer. And then he ran it through a stress test, and he said that everything was working fine. He was able to run everything at max, and everything was fine. So I took it home. We paid the bill. Bought the Ethernet card, and at this time I have my old motherboard. Bought the Ethernet port off them. I think it was a $40 one, and paid the like $45 for them to work on it. Took it home, plugged everything in. It wouldn't work, and I started losing my mind. I was like, every time it works there, but it won't work at home, and I can't remember if it was the Saturday right afterwards. Oh no, we picked it up on the Monday. So it was the following Saturday. We brought it into the damn computer guys. Again, dealt with the same kid from before. But I brought everything. I brought my webcam, my microphone, my headset, my external hard drive, my mouse, my keyboard, my monitor, all my cables. Brought it all in there. Plugged everything in, and it fucking starts up on the first try. Excuse my language. I'll try not to curse as much. It starts up on the very first try at the place. I'm like, I don't understand why it's working here and not at home. So I was like, okay. Maybe what he was able to do was get it working. So I took it home and plugged everything in again, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. So I was just losing my mind. And I didn't know what to do, and so I was like, you know what? I asked them, do they have on-site technicians so they can come into my house and figure out why the hell it's not working here? And so I got a guy. I can't remember his name. He left me his email. He's kind of a gamer. I might end up like actually gaming with him or whatnot. But he came and he sat down at the computer and turned it on, and it didn't work. I was like, thank God that somebody else gets to see my problem, because every time I brought it in there, nobody got to see my problem, so nobody had any clue if I was just making shit up or not. And so I was like, okay. So brought it home, and what the hell am I talking about? So he's here, he's plugging it in, he turned it on, nothing works. Or it starts up and then a black screen. I'm like, yes, somebody gets to see what frustration or the crap I've been dealing with. This is it. So he looks at it. I need to mess around with a few things. I give him the whole story. I tell him everything I've tried, unplugging and reseating everything. I tell him everything. So hopefully that, because it's like you pay $100 an hour for the technician to come out, and so I paid $100 an hour for the technician to come out and try and get it working. He was there for at least an hour and a half. Only charges an hour. So thank you very much on his part. Really cool dude. And he starts messing around with things. So I tell him the whole story of everything, so that way it can possibly, shorten the testing time down. So he knows, okay, this is already being done. I don't need to waste my time testing this out, blah, blah, blah. He tested a few things out, only a few, that were quick fixes, and they didn't work. And he ended up bringing down some parts. He brought down a monitor, a power supply, and something else. I can't remember. So he starts off unplugging the power supply and trying their power supply. So he plugs in their power supply and he gets it running. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand the problem. So he plugs everything back into the new power supply that I bought, and it won't start up again. So he's like, okay, maybe the power supply has a rough connection inside, but that still doesn't make sense why it would work at the store. Okay, but I'm getting off topic a little bit. So basically what it was is the guy, he had a power supply that it was like $70, $80. But I was like, well, what about my old power supply? Will that work? So he plugs in my old power supply, and it works fine. So he puts it back on in the computer and gets it all set up, and it's working. So, and that's where I'm at now. And I've tested the games out, and I can play games, and they work fine. Nothing's shutting down on me. The only time it's shut down on me twice, and it's when I didn't do anything with it for 15, 20 minutes. If I didn't touch it for 20 minutes, the computer will black screen. Now, that might be another issue. So if it keeps persisting, or if it happens while I'm doing something, then I'm gonna call them back, because they said they have a 30-day guarantee of fixing my issue. So I'll take it in to them and get them to figure it out. So whatever. Right now it's working. My computer's up and running. I've tried recording a little bit. I'm obviously doing a video, so I'm gonna test out my first attempt at exporting. But basically, I spent $285 on a $40 Ethernet card, from all the charges of getting them to come check it out, and bringing it in and getting billed for that, and buying the parts and returning them, and losing restocking, paying for restocking fees, and just the thing that pisses me off is that all that money is gone, and the power supply, which I didn't get to return because I'm pretty sure I've lost the receipt. Plus, it's over the 7-day return fee. And so I got a power supply that is only faulty at my house, but the problem is solved. So big breath of fresh air. The problem seems to be solved, and I shouldn't have any more issues, hopefully. And I think honestly at this point I do want to start investing in getting a new computer, but I got bills I got to pay right now. I just moved. Maybe sometime in the near future, after I get everything unpacked and organized and looking nice, I'll give you guys a little setup of my computer. But by now you guys will be aware that I decided not to go with one video and decided to go with two. So this is the part 2 version that is finishing the story. And I do again want to say thank you to all the people that helped and donated. G. Dupree, Lame Icon, Twatter and Mrs. Twatter, thank you very much. John Stud, like I said, if you guys want to check him out, or G Dupree, go check out his channel. John Stud streams a lot, and if you guys are looking for somebody who plays Rust that streams, that I usually play with, go check him out. Thanks to everybody, and this is my biggest computer problem I've ever had, and it's been the most frustrating. It's been a week and a month and a week, 5 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks. My computer's been broken, and I haven't been able to do shit. But it's solved now. It just sucks that I paid $285 for a 40-net Ethernet card. That is what pisses me off. But, alright. I hope you guys enjoyed the sequel to my computer problem. And this is Lex Coupe saying rate, comment, subscribe. Dooch doosh kadoosh.